Hello everyone, my name is Jesus Chavez and I'm here to present my research project. I wanted to find out how personal development can contribute to the organizational efficiency. And in that vision, I wanted to prove that it could increase productivity, reduce turnover, and achieve job satisfaction. That was the scope of my research, and I will present my findings. The, the scope of my project was to explore whether personal development can contribute to organizational efficiency. One of the things that I found out, even though the significance of the subject, there was not very specific research or articles on how personal development can contribute to the efficiency of the company. So that I found out through my research. I explore a few theories which I will present in my results. Kind of like they gave me the information to prove that these theories could actually work. What drove me to this subject? Well, it actually wasn't that easy. I started reading different articles and I started to find out or to see that there was a gap. There was a disconnect between employees and the employer. It seemed like everyone offered different areas on how to improve efficiency, and part of the component was education, training, leadership, coaching, but none of them addressed personal development as a unit, as an analysis that could drive this productivity, job satisfaction, and reduce turnover. So that's what's my focus. I wanted to find out whether it was possible, and I will present here what I found out. As I mentioned earlier in the previous slide, there were already some existing research investigations on how to improve organizational efficiency. Their focus, however, was in management. How management sometimes needed to change jobs, which that one it was kind of like interesting to see how people can change jobs to increase job satisfaction or incorporate leadership, coaching, even change the philosophy of the company or the structure of the company to achieve efficiency. When I read all this research, all these articles, all these authors, what I found out is that in all of them, a component of the research was they didn't specifically call it personal development, but they call it education, they call it training, or they call it mentoring. So my scope was to incorporate an umbrella where all this education training came under the umbrella of personal development. So after I did all my research, a lot of research on trying to find out what personal development could become, I needed to prove my theory or to test to see if it actually worked or it will work. It's all theoretical. So I needed to find a company to test my hypothesis, and that's when First Transit came in. Actually, I had a very interesting time working with First Transit. It's a public company. It's a transportation company. It's a multinational. They have over 50 years in business, and they operate all over the world. They are in Canada, Denmark, Germany, Hong Kong, United Kingdom, Sweden, US, and Mexico. Their expertise in transportation actually helped a lot. You'll see it later in my results section. The information that I obtained from them, it actually helped me prove my theories. My theories developed. My methodology used in this research was qualitative by doing some questions and interviews and observations on different areas of the company, and some very good data obtained, the quantitative data analysis that I obtained, and this will be presented shortly in my results section. Here's my results section, and in here I did some qualitative research by going to the field. I actually visited 3 subsidiaries of First Transit, which was Paratransit. They focus on serving people that cannot take public transportation. They go and pick them up. Greyhound, they also own Greyhound. And First Student is a school bus service that is contracted out with school districts. And I went, and even though they're different because everyone serves different type of population, different type of clientele, I could observe and I could see, I could gather the data, and I could talk to some of the people briefly, and so some of the interesting things, some of the things that helped me to my case. Well, after I convinced First Transit so they can let me on their premises and snoop around a little bit, I wanted some hard data. I wanted some meat and potatoes, so I can actually see, because their conversations were like, yes, we do this and we solve that. Yes, we do that and we solve the other thing. But I needed proof. I couldn't just take their words. So they allow me to see this, and I present this as it is, as they gave it to me. They erase all this personal stuff. But on this page, you can see if you focus on the columns on the right, this is a liquidated damages. Basically, this is cost to the company, their fines for coming in late. And the last 2 columns on the right, it tells you how many minutes they came late, and the fine, which is the amount, on the very right column. One of the things that they had is they had incredible technology to track things down, and those were the things that they were able to collect, which is very, very interesting. The next slide, I will compare that information. This is from 2 years ago, well, 2016 right now, but this is from 2014. The next slide will show you 2 different years. The previous slide, I show you the column or the data page that is on the left. Now I'm putting the next to the next year. So the one on the left is from September 2014, and the page on the right is from October 2015. You can see a few changes. Actually, one comes in a very nicely tabulated Excel type format, but these still cost is still fines, liquidated damages they call it, for the vehicles that arrive late. Every time they arrive late, they incurred some cost, and obviously they want to correct that. And my questions were, how do you correct that? And they said, through training. Okay, but how do you know what to correct? And they said, well, we know. And this is basically what I'm presenting to you, because if you look at it, I mean, it shows you the reason why the vehicle or the transportation came in late. If you look at 2015, all the way to the right, the column on the right, actually the program, the technology keeps improving. Now the technology automatically inputs the reason, which is basically the last column, which is unbelievable. It says late vehicle, and the last 2 at the bottom says missed trip. When they have this type of incidents, they track everything. They know the bus driver, or the person that was in charge, and then they find out what the problem was. Once they identify the problem, these people, they cater the training that they receive to improve this. And in these 2 years, you can see from 2014 to 2015, there is a difference on the total amount. On 2014, there was 2,775, and from 2015, they managed to reduce the fines, to reduce the cost, and that's what they did through personal development, through training their people, and that's what I wanted to show you. So after First Transit allowed me to see those numbers, I kept asking, what about revenue? And they said it's the same thing. The same way we reduce fines or costs, we increase revenue through training, through personal development. We focus on management and all the way down. They have different ways to train, which I will talk briefly later on. And they allow me to see this information, which is amazing. Both of the data that I'm showing you, the one previously and this one, is for one particular month only. It's on 1 month, but it goes month to month. You can make that conclusion. This one is from 2014, and I want you to focus on the red and the yellow area. The liquidated damages for 2014 were 10,425 for the month of June, and the revenue, which is the net due, were 703,000. Now the next slide, I'll put them next to the a year ahead, and you can see the difference. And that's what they focus on. That's where they use their technology to improve not only the revenue but reduce costs. And I found out that very powerful. Now here is the June 2014 comparing it to July 2015. As you can see, I had a little challenge to show you both next to each other, but basically it's the same information. But I wanted to highlight or to bring up the two areas that are important: the red area and the yellow columns. You can see in 2014 the liquidated damages were $10,000, over $10,000. For 2015, they were $4,000. And they did that by correcting the issues through a process that I showed you before, tracking down the issues of what happened. Once they see what happened, they send people to training, to personal development programs that they actually already know. They can predict, like if something happens, you go to this class. If something happens on how not knowing how to use a GPS, they have a class for that. Everything is already in place because this is a company that does transportation, so they know all these things. The yellow, let's focus on the yellow area. The revenue from 2014 to 2015 almost increased over $100,000. That's 1 month. So this is the statistical data that is very convincing that they can it actually can work, because this is a company that is doing it and apparently it's working. So through the results, the questions that I proposed were confirmed, and different reasons for different type of training. It showed that it actually cost was reduced and increased revenue. Technology was a big plus for this particular company, and they had an e-learning program implemented or in place. And my observations and my interviews generated a very positive response. In summary, my research did explore that personal development can increase productivity, reduce turnover, and job satisfaction. And there was no specific analysis on personal development per se. One aspect is people needed to have an incentive of $500 to start a personal development class. It's not part of their part of people, And the other thing is that not everybody wanted to participate. They felt somehow micromanaged. My recommendations is that more research is needed to explore my analysis presented in this research. The technology was a big plus for this company, and they had a university e-learning in place, which was very cost effective. And the other area I could explore is other companies that have other developmental programs and see how they're doing with that. I did feel that my contribution, I contributed some to the organizational effectiveness with these findings, but more research is needed. Thank you.